Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Serge, and welcome to another episode of Search for the Truth. And our goal is to really empower people with knowledge, information for you guys taking charge of your health. You have problems in order to stay well and make sure you prevent conditions as we get older. And today, I'm really excited to have my following guest, Mr. Dave, with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So first of all, for people who is watching us today, if you have any questions for my guest, please write it on the box comment on the right side. I'm going to ask him the question. And second of all, Mr. Dave, can you tell us a bit about you, yourself, why you're so passionate to help people feeling better?
Yeah, well, I think my interest in health goes back a long way. I think back to when I was a kid, I was very, very shy, like abnormally shy and very self-conscious. And all the other kids were more coordinated, and I didn't do very well in school. And anyways, one day the kids were out at elementary school on the junior high, like 7-foot high basketball hoop, trying to dunk a small ball, maybe a softball or something. I don't remember the exact size. I was taller than some of the other kids, and I gave it a try. I was like, can I try, And I went and dunked this ball. And it's the first memory I have of actually doing something that other kids couldn't do, or that was kind of cool, And from that was my beginning of an interest in basketball. And I never became a very good basketball player, but I was able to make the high school team, and that was a big accomplishment. And I then was introduced to weightlifting and to running and to fitness. And our coach told us foods to eat and foods to not eat. And so my introduction to athletics really literally changed my life and helped me to develop confidence and come out of my shell. And so I've just loved it ever since.
Awesome. So I think everybody like us, you and me, we all have a passion because we want to help ourselves and help people. And today I want to focus on one really big, exciting topic, because I think it's the future when it comes to health, wellness, and nutrition, is how to stay young and healthy, fit as you get older, right? And I really like the phrase that you said. It's really catchy. 50 is the new 30. So this is something that I hear all the time from people. I'm getting older. I have aches and pains. I'm not feeling as well. But that shouldn't be the case, right?
Well, we want to age as well as we can. And what shouldn't be the case is to age too early, age prematurely, or have problems and conditions based on our lifestyle that we just never should have adopted. And so, we're going to age. But the problem I see is that here's a great question, Dr. Serge. How many pounds overweight should a person be when they reach the age 50?
Oh, that's a good question. To be honest, I don't know the answer to that.
Well, the answer is personal, right?
Yeah.
But the answer for me, I heard that question when I was in my 30s. And in my 30s, I had taken kind of a lapse. Life, we go up and down, right? There's times we're really on our game and we're really eating well, exercising, we never miss, and we feel on top of our game. And other times we're lax and we're tempted by the pizza and whatever. And, we go overboard. Not that you can never eat a pizza. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying times are really strong, times are a little weaker. That's just life, the up and down of the roller coaster.
That's life, yeah.
At a bottom point for me in health, I was at a conference. It was actually a business conference. And the man was talking about the power of questions. Questions have the power to change lives. And he said, let me give you an example. He said, how many pounds overweight should you be when you turn 50? And that question definitely was very, very powerful, because I realized I was not taking care of my health in a way that I'd be happy with my health when I reached age 50. And it actually made a huge difference. It gave me some foresight. It made me realize, and now I'm 55. And so I look back 25 years, it doesn't seem that long.
Yeah.
And yet at 55 years old, when I go to the doctor and the nurse has you fill out the form every single time you go, how many medications you're on? None. No. How many medications? Like even blood thinners, cholesterol inhibitors. You got to be on something. No, I'm not on anything. They don't even believe it and that's so sad. So many people reach age of 55, 60, 65, 70, and they think it's normal to be on multiple medications out of shape, overweight, inactive. And I just reject that. I just don't accept that for myself or my family. And I'm trying to set an example to my children and my grandchildren of aging with strength and being a good example and continuing to exercise the best that I can.
That's amazing. And I really agree with this because sometimes I have people, they come to me and we change the diet, optimize this, do this. And they are 75, 85 years old, 90 years old. And they would tell me that I've never felt as good as when I was in my 20s or 30s. So it's possible. It's never too late to change. And one of your expertise is on weight. I mean, I was reading a little bit your bio, and it says that you've been helping more than 100,000 customers with weight loss. So you do
Yeah.
have a lot of expertise and experience on weight loss and weight.
Yeah.
And weight seems to be one of the main driver, if not the main driver, of those chronic issues out there. We seem so obsessed and focused on weight loss.
Yeah, now we poll our customers. So I've been selling dietary supplements online since 2009. So that's my current MO. It's how I make my living. I'm a certified fitness nutrition coach, but I do that to help my customers who are purchasing my products. I do free consultations. I do a podcast as you do. So I try to give out all the best and latest, greatest science and information to support my customers who are buying their vitamins and minerals and various supplements from us. Okay. And our first product was a weight loss product back in 2009. We introduced a weight loss product that went crazy. Okay. We're talking thousands of new customers every month. We had 5 support reps at that time who were trying to take in all these questions. And to be honest, I was a guy who was selling a weight loss product who was not an expert in weight loss. And we had a great diet that was created by a doctor and verified by another doctor. And we had a product that was a good quality product. But when all the questions started coming in, can I take this with this medicine? And I've had my gallbladder removed. I have a weak thyroid. I have this situation. I don't have support from my family. Just the questions and the comments and the problems, they were all over the map. And so I had to really dig in and educate myself to be able to support these people. And then the epiphany came for me probably about 3 years in, about 2012. I realized that I had no idea how many people were keeping the weight off. It was wonderful to hear the stories. It's wonderful if someone says, "Hey, I lost 30 pounds using your product." It makes you feel so good. It's great. But what about 2 years from now? In e-commerce, you tend to not hear from these people again for maybe ever, right? And so I then started to realize that we needed to have a protocol and a diet that wasn't temporary, right? So we had to have something that became a lifestyle that they could lose weight on now and keep it off. And that's what we now call the Dirobi Undiet. And so rather than put people on a diet, which is something they'll do temporarily to lose weight, and then have them maybe go back to what they were doing before that didn't work and just put the weight right back on, we start them right from day one on a protocol that will work for them forever. So they just have to tweak the dials a little bit. They just have to do it more strictly during the weight loss phase and less strictly to maintain their ideal body weight. So that's, in a nutshell, kind of the background and what I've learned along the way and what we're trying to do now for long-term success for people.
And I concur with you. People are looking for quick fixes, right? They want the magic pill, but they do need to look at the diet and make some changes in their lifestyle. So what diet or what recommendation would you say or tell those people who want to lose weight they need to do in order to achieve it? Because there's a lot of confusion on there. There's so many different things going on. Most of what people try doesn't work. It's not for a long time. So what do you recommend with your customers?
Yeah, well, what we recommend, and that would take a very long time to discuss. So I will try my best. But for those who really want a deep answer and something that they can spend a little more time on, there's a free book on my website called the Dirobi Undiet. It's a 10-page PDF, and so I would highly recommend your listeners get that if they like the principles that I'm talking about here. But basically, when I was at a gym a few years ago that introduced precision nutrition. Are you familiar, Dr. Serge, with precision nutrition?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So My gym offered it for free for all of the members.
Okay.
They had a coach in-house and said, hey, anyone wants to do a 1-year precision nutrition, go ahead and sign up here. It's included in your membership. And I did it. I absolutely loved it. I found it to be long-term. I found it to be reasonable. I found that you didn't have to do anything drastic like eliminate carbs or measure your food or calorie count, because no one's going to do any of those things long-term. Okay. No one wants to. And who wants to? We don't want to. We all just want to live a great and fulfilling and happy life without having to worry and stress over every meal, right?
Correct.
So I did precision nutrition for a year. And then when I was done, I knew I had the answer. I was like, I'm just going to become a precision nutrition coach because this stuff absolutely works. And then from there, I was able to take that original diet that we had created in the beginning and tweak it and change it to work with our product and to be that sustainable thing that they'd continue to do. And Dr. Serge, you mentioned, I don't know if you used the word silver bullet, but you kind of talked about or quick fix.
Yeah.
You know, however you said that a few minutes ago. I love that. And I don't believe there's a quick fix, but I'll tell you what there is. There are systems that work. Okay. And not one single part of the system is the silver bullet.
Yeah.
But 7 things together can create a silver bullet. And those 7 things for me are: drink plenty of water and don't drink much of anything else, especially sodas, alcohol, juices, calorie-rich, high-sugar drinks. We got to cut way down on those. Eliminate them during a high weight loss phase, for example, and just drink water during a weight loss phase. We need to eat all of our food slowly and mindfully. This one's a fascinating one. There's a ton of science to back it up. How we eat is more important than what we eat. It's critical that we eat slowly and mindfully. And that we eat. And when I say mindfully, I'm talking literally, make your preparation and food eating meditative. Keep the phone away. If you're with people, of course, be with those people and your loved ones. But otherwise, focus on every bite and eat your food very slowly and mindfully. And that food should consist of healthy carbs, fat, protein, and 5 to 9 servings of veggies every day. So these are examples of some of the sleep. We recommend 7 to 9 hours of sleep. It's no use trying to do weight loss and be very, very fit if you're not giving your body the chance to recuperate from your fitness and lifestyle and eating regimen. Good and point. Having your hormones work correctly, as well as your cleansing system, right? And so your immune system, your digestive system, everything to do with getting rid of bacteria, pathogens, carcinogens, all of this depends on, and much of it happens during the night, during a good night's sleep.
Correct.
And so that combination, eating right, exercising daily, eating the right food, but again, doesn't have to all be organic. It doesn't all have to be grown in your hippie garden in the backyard. It can be normal food, right? But eat cleaner and more vegetables, right? And the right portion sizes, right? So and exercise daily. Now, I've just said a lot, so I better turn it back over to you before I could just go off on this.
That was really good information. And you're right. I think it's important for people to understand, to figure out what works for them. Something may not work for you. It may work for you. And that's, I believe, the critical point you're trying to see here. So there's a foundation, those principles, right? And then you see what makes sense and adjust a bit based on your own lifestyle. So what are the other principles? You mentioned a few. So what are the other principles that is really important to stay young as we get older, right?
Okay, so let me go through the 7 because I don't know that I got them all. So do not drink calories and stay hydrated by drinking enough water, half your body weight in ounces every day. Eat all your food slowly and mindfully. And the next one is intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Eat all of your food within a window of time, often for people a 16-8, where they eat for 8 hours and don't eat for 16. I'm telling you, doctors, and you're nodding your head. You obviously know this. This is not news to you, and many of your listeners probably know it. But eating within that eating window works magic for both your digestive system, for cleansing, for your hormonal system. Every body system works better when we observe that. And one of the biggest things that many health coaches don't talk about, Dr. Serge, about intermittent fasting is what you don't eat after you stop eating at dinner time. Because nobody craves a salad at 8 o'clock at night. Nobody.
Correct. Yes.
So cutting out the bad stuff we normally eat after dinner.
So what do you recommend to eat to break the fast? This is a question a lot of people ask me. So when you fast 16 hours, what is the first food you should be eating in order to maximize the benefits?
The sky's the limit. As long as there's a healthy serving of fat, a healthy serving of carbs, and a healthy serving of protein, and some vegetables in the mix. It doesn't have to be so complicated. It could be, for example, for what I just said, it could be eggs with guacamole on top for fat, protein, and some toast, right? If you're gluten intolerant, then toast won't work. But if you're gluten intolerant, you know what carbs will work for you. So just substitute, right?
Yeah.
But that one breakfast is very, very simple. I often do a green smoothie.
Yes, that's a good point.
So I love berries. I'll put a cup of berries. I'll put a huge handful of spinach or kale or some other dark leafy green. I'll put some protein powder. I'll put some seeds, either chia or hemp hearts or something like that, and into a smoothie, blend it up, and it's absolutely delicious. A great way to break the fast. Dr. Serge, I actually don't believe, I think people get too carried away with this stuff. Okay. I don't think your body really cares that much about the first meal or the middle meal or the last meal. I just don't believe it. I think as long as you get the right ratio, the building blocks of your body are carbs for energy and hormones, protein for building up muscle and soft tissue, fat also for soft tissue and for a lot of other reasons. And we get most of our phytonutrients from fruit and vegetables. And if you will put those into every meal, you can't go wrong.
I agree with you. I think we need to keep things simple. People get confused and they are really make things complicated when it should be so simple.
Absolutely. And then the next thing is supplementation. And so on this, I'm going to start with a premise I think is critical, and that is test, don't guess. Forget about what you're hearing on the radio or from some anecdote on Facebook or, hey, take this magical potion or take this or take that. No.
Yeah.
Get a blood test.
Yes.
It's not rocket science, right?
Don't take anything that you find. Yes.
Yeah. I listened to your episode on zinc. I thought it was wonderful. Zinc is something we put in our Mimi's Miracle Multi, for example, because we know most people are deficient. Vitamin D, we know most people are deficient. So yes, you can take supplements, and generally speaking, a good multi and a good mineral, I don't think anyone can go wrong with.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely start with that. But from there, test. I'm a very fit guy. I eat really well. I exercise every day. I live a healthy lifestyle. But once a year, sometimes every 6 months, I do a blood test. And every single time I find something I need to dial in. I'll give you a personal example. The last blood work I had done, I was mostly, it looked good. It looked great because I'm living the principles I talk about, but I was a little bit low on selenium, potassium, and magnesium. Now, I don't like supplementing with magnesium because I just disagree with the concept. I think magnesium comes best from whole foods. And so I upped my leafy green. I started doing more green smoothies after that blood test. Okay?
Yes.
Selenium, the best source of selenium that I know of is cashew nuts. And so I started buying the big container of cashews from Costco and added half a cup a day to my diet.
Yeah.
The potassium, I add, my wife does the shopping. As a matter of fact, she doesn't like it when I go shopping because I always buy too much. So I asked my wife, hey, I want to have a banana every single day. Would you make sure that we always have bananas in the house? And she's like, yeah, I like bananas too. That's just a great idea. And so I've been having bananas. So I take a multi and a mineral, our own, of course. And when I do testing, I adjust my diet for the rest. Now, there's other supplements I take. For example, I like a pre-workout, especially before I do a really hard, heavy workout. I just like it. I don't need it. My body's not deficient on pre-workout, but I take it. I have had a lot of joint problems in my life, a lot of accidents, broken bones, done myself some damage. And so
Yeah.
I take Mimi's Miracle turmeric,
Yeah.
which really helps me. And if my joints start, if the pain increases or I have an injury, I take 2 a day and 2 at night until that pain subsides.
Yeah.
So those are some examples of some additional things people may need depending on their age, their gender. Many women have blood tests done and need more iron. So it depends who you are, your stage of life, childbearing years, non-childbearing years.
Yeah.
Um, but you come up with this little plan, just a simple little plan of the supplements that will help you the best depending on your situation.
And like you said, I think it's really important to not just guess, but work with somebody like you or a doctor or practitioner who understands supplementation, do some tests. So I'm gonna play a little bit the devil's advocate here. So this is a
Okay.
question I get all the time actually, because I use supplement as well. So and people always say, I just have to change my diet. I don't need to take supplements. So do you really need supplements in order to stay healthy, or you can really get everything from the food and diet that we have?
I can't, and I eat really, really well, but I get my blood tested. And like I told you, I just had a blood test and I was deficient in magnesium, selenium, potassium. And so I was good on all of the other things that I take. I mentioned how vitamin D and zinc is in my product. Those things I was good. So the basics were covered.
Yeah.
But some people's bodies work differently than others. So someone might be taking a supplement, for example. So here's our multivitamin, right?
Yeah.
And it has zinc, has vitamin D, it has chromium. Now, chromium is an interesting one, Dr. Surgeon. You probably know all about this, but your body can't store chromium. You either get it from your diet or from a supplement, or you don't have it. And if you don't have chromium, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Not like you're going to die right away or anything, but you certainly won't operate at your best. Okay.
Correct.
And chromium can help you with weight management. It can help you with lowered cholesterol, and it also helps you manage your blood sugar. Now, some people can supplement chromium and yet still be deficient, right? Some people can
Yeah.
supplement zinc and still be deficient. And that's true with almost everything. So
Correct. Yeah.
again, where those people are coming from, I certainly agree with the basic premise. I'm never one to say, well, don't try to get everything from food. I just said that. I just said my first option is not a supplement if I'm deficient on something. My first option is to adjust my diet
Yeah.
to get it.
Yeah.
So I mostly agree with those people, but I don't need to argue with them. I just say, go get your blood tested.
And see what happened. Exactly.
Just get the dumb test. Dr. Serge, do you have a source that you recommend, or can I share one for blood testing?
You can share yours if you have one.
I don't have one, but I'll tell you the one that I like and that I'm using myself, and I highly recommend. It's an app called Life Extend. Here's my app right here. It also has ways you can measure your daily progress in different areas
Okay.
that are right in line with what I'm teaching. And within this app, you can go into it and you can order a really excellent blood panel for $100.
Wow. That's affordable.
It's awesome. And I've seen these tests for $200 to $500 that are no better
Yes.
than this one. And the thing I like about this app-based one is that they find a local lab where you go and they do the blood draw. They send it off to their lab. And then what they do is they upload the results into the app. And so you have it right there with you. And then you can do another test in 6 months or a year or whatever you're going to do and see your results and what's going on over time.
Oh, that's exciting, actually. So Life Extend.
Life Extend. As a matter of fact, the founder is a billionaire by the name of Don Brown, who'd be a great guest. He was on my show, and it was an excellent interview. So, or just Google him, Don Brown, a super interesting guy, a genius in my opinion, who is a real mover and shaker in the health field right now. And so for those of you listening, boy, this is a long answer to a short question, but it's such a good question. The argument is dumb. Let's just put it that way. It's a dumb argument because you simply get a test and then you find out how you're doing based on where you're at right now. And then you can make the adjustments that you need.
Really good point. Again, it's all about testing and not guessing. And then you can make changes in your lifestyle. If you need supplementations, make sure you take good quality supplements that you can find. One thing that is really important to talk about, I believe, when it comes to aging is when you look at the blue zones, you may be
Mhm.
familiar with the blue zone. So it's
Yeah.
a handful of locations across the world that look at the healthiest population, right? It seems that diet is a common factor, but there's more support to suggest that the lifestyle and their stress level seems to be the common factor across those populations in order for them to stay up to heal, to live out to 100, 110, 120 years old.
Yep.
So what is the role of stress in aging and what can we do about it?
Oh, well, let me tell you, diet may be fundamental in the blue zones, but there's one in Japan, there's one in Greece, there's one in Russia, and there's one in Loma Linda, California. Now, I
Yeah.
interviewed a doctor in Loma Linda who is making this her life work. Okay. And it blew me away because, first of all, there is no dietary agreement between those four cultures of any kind.
Yeah.
We're talking fish and rice primarily in one. We're talking Mediterranean diet in another. We're talking dairy,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
in another, where there's no dairy in an. I mean, it's
So there's
diet
no
is not.
common factors.
There's no common basis, but those people are communal in a lot of ways. At the dinner table, there's often 3 or 4 generations. There's grandparents chatting with parents, with children, with grandchildren. There's love. There's community. There's meditative work. They often work outside. They often raise their own food. These are a strong sense of community and a religious base. And some of them are secular religion, Buddhist thought. There's a Christian. Again, no necessarily underlying agreement on their religious philosophies, but but faith based. So they have hope for the future, right? So that's
Yes.
part of it. There, the strong family ties, and meditation. In at least 2 of them is core daily meditation practice. And of course, meditation practice is not the same for everybody. There's many people that live a meditative life who aren't like Buddhist monks who sit for hours at a time, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so being meditative and having a mindful life is something that anyone of any background or religion can achieve. And so the answer is that it's along the lines of what I said before. There's no silver bullets. It's what you brought up. There's not a silver bullet. It's the entire lifestyle. Their exercise tends to be light but steady. They move all day. They don't spend tons of time sitting at a desk.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they're working. They're close to the land. They're outside a lot. They get their share of sunshine. They love each other. They're not as isolated community-wise as many urban people are. It's very ironic that we live in a very built-up modern society where people can live just feet from each other, but have the highest sense of loneliness that we've ever had since we started doing social science.
This is so true, actually.
Yeah, lonely people don't live long lives.
They don't. They don't.
Yeah.
And we've seen it since the beginning of the pandemic. There's a lot more mental problems, a lot more suicides. People are lonely. So what can we do to fight this? Because we live in this country, right? We have food. We think we are happy, but at the end of the day, like you said, we are lonely. We are depressed. We are stressed. So what are the few things or steps that can people take in order to start building this?
Well, here's a couple of ideas. We talked earlier about the eating window.
Yes.
What I teach people, my customers, is to make their eating window the same as their social media and news window. Because what's happening is many people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is they pick up their phone.
Yes.
And they want to see the news. And
yes.
many people are highly political and they're politicized.
Yeah.
And frankly, many people are radicalized on the far right and the far left and trying to radicalize those in the middle. And this is something that we're all being faced with. And Instead, I highly recommend that you start your day with meditation and or walking, or both. I mean, my morning routine is something I would never do without. I get up first thing in the morning. I walk my dog for 30 minutes. I love that. We happen to live by fields where we're out in nature. There's a beautiful
Wow.
lake. We're surrounded
Yeah.
by mountains. It's wonderful. She loves it. I love it. We walk. I then meditate for 20 minutes every morning. I then plan my day. And that time of day, you know, when you wake up in the morning, Dr. Surges, you know, your hormones are high. Your
Hmm.
brain is firing at its best. Your blood sugar is low. Your HGH is up. And
Yeah.
physically and mentally, you're at your best.
Yeah.
You are,
Yeah.
until
Yeah.
you ruin it, right?
Yes.
Now, if you start by looking at the news, you know what happens? Your cortisol goes up. And when your cortisol goes up, those other hormones go down, because cortisol is the fight or flight hormone, right? And
Correct.
what we're doing is we're taking the fight or flight hormone that used to help us to run and escape when there was an angry lion outside the campsite, right?
Yeah.
In our ancient cultures, this was important.
Yeah.
But now what we find is, through modern daily living, driving a car, watching television, interacting with people on social media, all of these things are triggering our cortisol, and we live with too high a level of cortisol. So develop a morning routine that's meditative and peaceful, and that you're in charge of. Don't let the world come in and invade
Yes.
your mental and spiritual space, right? Just protect that, right?
Yeah.
And then, instead of being so excited to connect with everyone outside of your house, do the exact opposite. All your focus on who's inside your home, right? So this is another big mistake I think we're making. We're trying to connect and impress people who couldn't care less about us,
Yeah. That's true.
right?
Yeah.
And meantime, we might be sitting beside someone we really, really love,
Yeah.
and they're looking at their phone and we're looking at our phone.
Exactly. I see that all the time. All the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if we want to learn the lessons from the people of the blue zones, it
Yeah.
would be those. Connect with those that are close to you, and spend less time with those at a distance. Make sure you're meditating. Make sure you're eating slowly and mindful. Try to live more slowly, more mindfully. Multitasking is a joke. Become a master of single tasking. If you have to multitask, there's too much on your plate. Again, you're living in
Yes.
a high cortisol, stressful state you're applying to yourself. Stop priding yourself on multitasking, and instead get rid of a lot of crud that you thought you had to do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I
that,
will add on that to stop using electronics at night, right? Uh,
yes.
a lot of people use their phone, iPads before they go to bed. The radiation, the EMF just affect the brain, the melatonin. It's not a good thing to do.
Yeah. And again, it's tricky. Back to the whole relationship thing. So I'm a morning person and my wife is an evening person.
I see. Yeah.
She loves to sit and watch a show at night. It's her favorite thing. The two of us sit together,
Yeah.
and maybe I rub her shoulders, or she's scratching my head, or I'm rubbing her feet, and we just sit together, and we love it. And we have shows that we watch together. But I make sure and wear blue blocking glasses,
Correct. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not the time of day I would prefer to sit and watch the screen, but it's more important that I honor my marriage than I put my own little health, restrictions on how things have to work. But for the most part, yes. Like I said, I try to make my phone time, my screen time, during
Yes.
my eating window. For some reason, after I eat, and during that time from about 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, for some reason, if I read the news or interact with people socially, I tend to do better. It seems to kind of mess me up spiritually, mentally, to start my day on social media. It just works better in the afternoon. But then I do try to stop participating after dinner.
That's a good point, and that's something I've been doing as well lately. And it's unbelievable how much better I feel when I stop using the social media or my phone at night. I feel calmer, more at peace. I spend time with my family. Like you said, try to connect. And that's something we don't do in our busy lives anymore.
Yeah, and there's one other thing that's really helped me. I'm an argumentative person if I'm not careful, and I have my opinions, and I do research, and I feel like I'm a person who knows my stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And yet I have completely changed how I act, even with people that I strongly disagree with. I've had a few good examples on social media to me who have taken an a comment where I've been abrasive or said something that was too aggressive or mean or whatever, right?
yeah,
And I've had good-hearted people give me grace and come back and say, well, maybe you meant it this way. and, and and I had a couple people do that to me in a loving way, and it was really, really meaningful. And now I'm so much more careful, Serge.
yeah,
I really try my best to if I really feel like it's important to engage, I try to take the person and give them as much possible grace for what they're saying. And I try to say what I'm going to say as in a absolutely non-abrasive, non-argumentative,
yeah,
let's stick to the facts here. Maybe they're right.
yeah.
Let's be humble, right? And so more humility, less abrasiveness, not assuming the worst in what people are saying. And so I think those are also things that have helped me to come through. We're the first generation really of social media people, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah, we are.
we made a lot of mistakes, and we've said a lot of things we probably love to take back. And I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. Um,
I think everybody has said something. I mean, it's so easy, right? You sit in front of a computer, behind a screen, you type, and you can you maybe you're trying to say something, but it comes across to be rude or mean, not appropriate. I mean, and social media has become destructive to a
mhm.
lot of people. Actually, it's getting really out of control to me.
Yeah, to me too. I also unfriended many people.
Yeah,
Like I talked about spending time with your loved ones. I love the fact that I connect with like my dad. My dad's in Canada. And I'm in the United States. I haven't seen him in over a year. My mom and dad are both in Canada.
I
We can't
see.
cross the border,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so social media has led to us actually being able to connect and share pictures and what's going on. And so I'd say developing stronger relationships with strangers we want to argue with is probably pointless, but using social media as much as possible for our real and more meaningful relationships is where we want to, focus our attention.
you're right. It all depends how you use it, right? People have become so negative and so pessimistic and so rude at some degree on social media because they don't care about the consequences of what they say and what they type. And I think it's important to stay focused. Life is short, and we can see it. Things are getting crazy. I think it's important to focus on our friends and family this time.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And again, back to the whole system. If you're living in a way where you're nurturing your most meaningful relationships, where you're eating healthy foods, where you're
Yeah,
exercising every single day, so you're meditating, you're doing all these things that are self-love, and then you have more to give to other people. You have the strength, you have the vitality, you have the emotional support for when someone in your world needs you. You can be there for them physically, you can be there for them mentally, you can be there for them spiritually. Um, and to me, that's what makes a meaningful life. Is it's not just about health, and it's not just about spirituality, and it's not just about relationships. It's about all of it together. And I'm really big on the 24-hour cycle of it. As a matter of fact, I've got a PDF on my website, another freebie that people can grab. These are on the resources page. You see the website scrolling across the bottom.
yeah.
If you go there and click on resources, there's one called the virtuous cycle, of how at Dirobi we try to teach and to live in a way that we create these 24-hour cycles of optimal health every single day. And I think that's a wonderful way to look at it.
That's a nice concept indeed. So, as it's been 45 minutes already, so as a concluding remark, what would you tell someone who who wants to do something but doesn't know where to start. They're confused.
I would say start with your why. I'd say sit down with a pad of paper and say, why do I want to improve my life physically?
Good
And
question.
write down the answer. Now, that first answer is not the right answer. Okay. What you do is you take that answer. Let's say I want to lose weight. That's often the first one for many, many people.
Yeah.
Why? I want to lose weight. Okay. Now, why do you want to lose weight? Now write down that answer. Now let's say, well, because I feel better and look better when I fit in my skinny jeans. Now, why? Why do you feel better in your skinny jeans? Why?
Yeah.
And try to go 5 levels deep.
Wow. I'm
when
sure
you
it
get
gets deep.
Yep. When you've done, and don't rush this. Really, really think about it. Maybe ask your husband, your wife, your partner, anyone who knows you really well to participate with you, because this actually can be really helpful to have someone else digging in a little bit. It's something I do when I'm coaching. When I'm coaching one-on-one, this is the first thing I always start with. I want to know their why, not their superficial why.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to know their deep why. And many, many times when you get to the deep why, boom, the lights come on. They're ready to go. They're ready to reach their goals. They're ready to do things they weren't ready to do before, once they tap into that deep meaning inside of them of what they really want.
I'm sure that gives them a reason and a drive to actually do what they need to do. Because a lot of people need the motivation to lose the weight or working out or do this or do that.
Yeah. And what I found is they have it, but they've buried it. They
Yeah.
just haven't been in touch with it. It's right there. Everything they need is within them. They don't need to change. They don't need anything unique to happen. They've just lost touch with who they really are and what they really want. And when we as coaches help them get back to that, all of a sudden we don't have to do very much. They become a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Wow. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. Thank you for this statement. And if people want to reach out to you, they just go to the website or any
Yeah.
other information you want to let them know?
Yeah. At Dirobi.com, we have all those resources I told you about.
Okay.
Our products, you can use the coupon code INSIDER. You'll get a discount on anything if you want to purchase there.
Okay.
There's also a free consult if you want a health consult with me. I love doing those. There's no strings attached. It's not a sales presentation, nothing like that. I'm not trying to sell you on my stuff. I do honest, simple 20-minute health evaluations with anyone who'd like it. That's right there on the homepage. If you just scroll down on Dirobi.com, you can schedule, and I'd be thrilled to meet with anyone who feels like I might be able to help them overcome something in their health. My health certification is in nutrition, so I stay in my lane. I don't advise on things outside. We've talked about a lot of things here, Dr. Serge.
Yeah.
But I don't represent myself as a mindful coach or as a doctor or anything but nutrition. So, so that I just have to point that out. That's all I'm certified for and what I try to stick to.
Okay.
And that's about it. And if any other questions, or if you wanted to just ask a private question or whatever, just use our support there. Just say, hey, I saw Dave on Dr. Serge's show and I wonder about this, and they will forward that to me as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Dave, for your time. That was a really good conversation. We covered a lot of topics, but it was very important to talk about in order for people to know what they need to do now. It's never too late.
Thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. I've enjoyed it a lot. Thanks for having me on the show.
Awesome. Thank you, and take care to you.
You too.